Egypt's official timeline has been studied for over 150 years. Thousands of excavations, hundreds of institutions, some of the best resourced archaeology programs in the world. And yet 5 specific sites in Egypt produce data that doesn't fit that timeline. Not as theory, not as speculation, but as measured, published fact. The question isn't whether these sites are unexplained. The question is what the official history would actually have to prove for the standard account to hold. Dynastic Egypt, the civilization we know from hieroglyphics, pharaohs, and pyramid complexes, is dated to roughly 3100 BCE. That is when, according to the established timeline, sophisticated construction, centralized government, and advanced astronomical knowledge emerged. Before that, simpler agricultural communities, nothing that should be capable of what we're about to examine. In the next 12 minutes, we go through 5 sites where an official explanation exists, and we show specifically what that explanation cannot account for. Not fringe theory, named researchers, published measurements, the gap between the official model and the physical evidence, stated as precisely as the available data allows. The 5th site is the one we've saved for last deliberately. It doesn't appear on most lists about Egypt, and the peer-reviewed analysis that makes it genuinely difficult to dismiss wasn't published until 2005. Stay with us. The Osireion sits directly behind the temple of Sidi Thrust at Abydos, buried beneath the water table in southern Egypt. It is built from granite blocks, the largest weighing over 100 tons, heavier than a loaded Boeing 737, set without mortar in a style that Egyptologists themselves acknowledge is unlike any confirmed New Kingdom construction. E. A. Wallace Budge, who served as keeper of Egyptian antiquities at the British Museum and led the first systematic examination of the structure in the early 1900s, concluded that its architectural style was archaic, more consistent with Old Kingdom techniques, which would place it at least 1,000 years earlier than its official attribution to Seti the Run in the 13th century BCE. Margaret Murray's 1904 excavation report documented the same inconsistency. The construction method has no parallel in the period the structure is assigned to. The official explanation requires you to accept that Seti Fars deliberately chose to build a subterranean structure, using architectural methods his own civilization had abandoned for a millennium. That is possible, but it is a specific claim that carries a burden of proof no one has yet satisfied. The blocks are there. The weight is measurable. The architectural style mismatch is documented in mainstream Egyptological literature. No one has formally explained why a 13th century BCE ruler would engineer a building that looks 1,000 years older than everything else he commissioned. In 1991, geologist Robert Schoch of Boston University presented findings to the Geological Society of America that changed the scholarly conversation around the Sphinx, though most mainstream outlets have not covered what the geological community actually concluded. Working with seismologist Thomas Dobecki, Schoch analyzed the weathering patterns on the walls of the Sphinx Enclosure. What they found was vertical, rounded erosion consistent with prolonged heavy rainfall, not the horizontal, laminar pattern produced by wind-blown sand, which is what you would expect from a structure built around 2500 BCE in an already arid climate. The problem is simple. Heavy rainfall in that region of Egypt ended between 9000 and 7000 BCE. The Geological Society of America did not dispute Schoch's erosion identification. What was disputed was the implication that the Sphinx Enclosure was carved during a period of heavy rainfall, which pushes its construction back by at least 5,000 years beyond the official date. To date, the geological argument has not been formally refuted. It has been sidestepped. Stay with us. The next 2 sites are where the engineering numbers become genuinely uncomfortable. 24 granite sarcophagi, each one weighing approximately 70 tons, roughly the weight of the main structure of a commercial aircraft, carved from a single piece of Aswan granite, cut to tolerances of 2 microns across surfaces more than 2 meters wide. Auguste Mariette, who discovered the Serapeum of Saqqara in 1851, documented the boxes in detail. What he could not explain was the precision. In 2005, manufacturing engineer Christopher Dunn, with 35 years of experience in high-precision machining, published measurements of the boxes. His findings: the flatness and squareness of the interior surfaces match or exceed what modern industrial machining routinely achieves. The official explanation for Egyptian stonework is copper tools and abrasive sand. Dunn ran the engineering calculation. To achieve 2-micron tolerance across a 2-meter surface using abrasion requires a lapping process and measurement technology for which no physical evidence exists anywhere in the dynastic record. The boxes are there. The measurements are reproducible. Any engineer with access can verify them. What the official explanation has never provided is a working replication, a demonstrated process using documented tools that produces the same result. The Great Pyramid contains 4 narrow shafts angled upward through its structure. In 1993, Belgian engineer Robert Bauval published analysis in Discussions in Egyptology, showing that these shafts target specific stars as they appeared in the Egyptian sky around 2450 BCE. The southern shaft of the King's Chamber aligns with Orion's belt at culmination. The northern shaft of the Queen's Chamber aligns with Sirius at its rising. In 2000, astronomer Kate Spence of Cambridge University published a refinement in Nature, using 2 circumpolar stars tracked by the northern shafts to date the pyramid's construction to 2478 BCE, accurate to within 5 years by her calculation. What the shafts require is a planning phase during which builders calculated stellar positions years or decades in advance and encoded those angles into a structure covering 13 acres at the base. The theodolite, the instrument used for the kind of angular precision these shafts demonstrate, was not developed until the 16th century CE. Nobody has published a working account of how that calculation was made and executed with the tools the official record assigns to Old Kingdom Egypt. 600 kilometers south of Cairo, in what is now the Western Desert, there is a site called Nabta Playa, a circle of standing stones, partially buried under millennia of sediment, excavated beginning in 1974 by archaeologist Fred Wendorf of Southern Methodist University. The official interpretation, a cattle cult ceremonial site dating to approximately 5000 BCE. That reading entered the literature and was not seriously challenged for nearly 3 decades. In 2002, astrophysicist Thomas J. Peachy, Brophy published a reanalysis reconstructing the Egyptian sky at various historical dates using astronomical software. Specific stones in the Nabta circle he found target the same stars that organized later Egyptian religion, Orion, Sirius, and Bootes, at positions they occupied between 4,800 and 16,500 BCE. The angular precision required to target those stellar positions is not consistent with a cattle ceremonial site. It is consistent with systematic, multi-generational astronomical observation at a time when, according to the official timeline, no organized civilization existed in the region. In 2005, Brophy and geologist Paul Rosen published further analysis in the Journal of African Earth Sciences, confirming the geological dating of the site. The cattle cult interpretation has never been tested against Brophy's specific angular measurements. That test has not been done. What connects all 5 of these sites is not that they are mysterious. Mystery is not a measurement. What connects them is something more precise. Every official explanation that exists for each site is internally consistent on paper. What none of them includes is a demonstrated replication. No one has moved a 100-ton block using documented ancient tools and published the process. No one has machined granite to 2-micron tolerances with copper and sand and shown the result. No one has encoded stellar shaft angles into a 5 million-ton structure without the mathematics that didn't exist for another 4,000 years. The official timeline of Egypt may be correct, but the evidentiary standard applied to the anomalies is consistently higher than the standard applied to the official account. That asymmetry is worth examining. There is one site we deliberately left off this list. If you follow this niche seriously, you probably know which one it is. Leave it in the comments. And if you think any of the 5 sites we covered today has a stronger official explanation than we gave it, we want to hear it. Be specific. Who published it? And what does it account for that we didn't address? The strongest counter-argument gets a follow-up. If you want to go further, we've put together a complete guide covering 50 ancient discoveries that science still hasn't explained. Every site, every mystery, every competing theory, with sources. Link is in the description. And if today's video was useful, subscribe. We publish a new ancient mystery every week.